Welcome back to another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. After a week break, we're back. We weren't together whenever the O'Reilly trade broke, so we're definitely going to talk about that, give you guys our initial reactions. But before we start, we're going to bring back the player of the pod. We didn't do it last episode. But without further ado, it's only right that I think Lucas should introduce it.
I mean, ours for today is going to be Dylan Larkin, and I mean, I'm kind of.
The theme player of the pod, like who's been good recently, I think this fits the most. I feel like.
What do you mean?
Like in his recent games, like how many points he has. Like,
oh yeah.
Like this is like when we think of player of the pod, like we think of like last 5 games or like the last week or 2 weeks and what they've been doing, and this is the only answer I feel like at least.
After the All-Star weekend, he just got really mad for some reason. He's just decided to actually like produce at an insane rate. I mean, obviously, I think Dylan Larkin's a great center. I do think he is a first-line center. I don't think he's not obviously a 90, 100 point. He never will be. That's not who he is. But
I think he could get to 90.
He probably could get to 90, but it's not something that you'll see probably
Oh,
consistently.
yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think as long as Larkin's point per game, I don't think there should be. And I know he hasn't in the past, but
yeah, no.
I mean, there's reasons for that.
And I mean, like since All-Star break, I think he has 14 points in like 7 games or something.
Dude, I mean, I forget when All-Star break officially like ended, but probably like the month of February, he has a point in every game, at least a point.
Since the game against Vancouver, last 5 games, he has 5, 7, 8, 9 points in his last one. And just those 5 games.
In his last 7 games, he has a goal in every game except 2 of those. And 2 of those games are multi-goal games. So he's literally over goal per game this month. Obviously over point per game. It's just a lot of good stuff from him.
I mean, it's a contract year. It's something like this that you see this all the time. You see it with Bo.
He had a good start, and then he started to tail off a little bit, and then he's picking it back up. But this is what I expected from him, like the whole season. Obviously, he's on my fantasy team, and picking him was like, I forget where I picked him. It had to be like the 4th or the 5th round. But I know when I picked him, I was like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean last year, before he sat out the rest of the season due to I forget what injury it was exactly. He had 69 points in 71 games. He had 31 goals in those 71 games. He's gonna at least get 30 this year. 30 goals. He already has 22. I'm assuming he'll score 8 goals by the time the season ends, unless he goes out with an injury. I really hope not. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he definitely. I'm glad that it is deserving for him having as many points.
Oh, wow, that
7
the
games.
COVID season was a bad season.
It was horrible.
Dude, I did not. Well, because wasn't Adam Ernie the leading goal scorer?
Yeah, I think he was also like our second leading point getter.
Yeah.
Year.
I mean, Larkin. I mean, I don't even want to talk about re-signing Larkin because it's honestly stupid. But it just goes to show like this guy has been through like he hasn't had like a successful season yet. I wouldn't like say like you know what I mean. I don't know. It's kind of the word successful. I guess like basically like a season where he can be happy going into it and throughout the entirety.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like something like that.
I mean, that's been the state of the Red Wings basically, aside from his rookie year, which I mean.
Yeah,
but you could honestly say that too, because that's basically when it's like we were first round exit, we barely had 40 wins, so
yeah, and that was a bad season too, right?
For
I
him?
mean, well, like no, like for the Red Wings, because like say like the Penguins, like how bad of a season they're having if they made the playoffs, like they made it, but like they shouldn't have made it. Was it like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so.
like their goals for and goals against, opposed to the 14-15 season. That was the last one of Mike Babcock. They dropped off both. So
Yeah. I mean, either way, I think as long as as long as like Raymond and Larkin can like have good like Crosby and Gensel can. I'm not comparing at all, but like that kind of like chemistry where like you should never take them off the line.
Yeah.
Then yeah, there should be no reason why Larkin isn't point per game like the rest of his career after this. I mean, injuries and probably personal matters aside.
Yeah, no, I mean they've tried Raymond not on his wing and it hasn't really worked out. I think for both parties as well.
I mean, this is only Raymond's second season, so I do think you should put him in other places aside from
Larkin's wing. Yeah.
Like you want to get him playing with other players. You know what I mean? Because listen, like say like you never put Raymond and Kopp together, but you find out that they're like the next coming of whoever. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Other than that, I think I mean, obviously, this is not going to sustain the rest of the season.
No, I mean, if he gets a goal,
The
every
goal
game,
scoring, the goals definitely won't.
No, I know. If he got a goal for every game for the rest of the season, I would be ecstatic, but also scared for.
Because now it's like, if anything, you want to stop
Yeah.
him producing well.
Yeah,
Because this is just.
As a Red Wings fan, you don't know if you want him to keep doing this or not because it's cool to see, but it's also like.
Yeah.
His agent's gonna ask Yzerman to raise the price. So.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, we'll keep track on. Well, you definitely will, and so will I. See if he can keep it up. But yeah, now let's get into the bulk of it, the Ryan O'Reilly trade. So the official trade was O'Reilly and Achari to Toronto for a first, second, and a third, and then obviously a fourth went to Minnesota for the salary retention. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, you get Ryan O'Reilly for under $1 million, or $2 million.
How nice is that?
We knew that was, I'm not surprised that happened because, one, if you're like a team like the Leafs and you want to trade for like a pretty decent player, you're going to have a third team retain anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see a third team retain like probably a couple more times this trade deadline.
Well, I didn't really picture Minnesota to be the team.
No, yeah, I know. Like, I was just about to say, people were like, well, is Minnesota giving up on the season? Like, no, I don't think they are because next year is when the buyouts for Suter and Parise get really bad. Mm-hmm. So, like, right now, I think, like, I don't even think that the Wild are even using LTIR. So, like, and I think they just had, like, a raw, at least before they retained, they just had, like, a raw, like, $5 million in cap space. Yeah, so, like, they could afford to retain this. I mean, it was, like, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's what?
And you get a free fourth out of it. And I think the actual money, again, it doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of cool. They're only going to actually pay Ryan O'Reilly $75,000.
The Wild or?
The Wild. And the Leafs, too, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, you only pay him $75 in actual money.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only for however many games in playoffs. The Wild, yeah, they're not giving up on the season.
No. If you think the Wild gave up, no, it's a team that's, like, they're probably not going to use all their salary cap space at the deadline. If you can get a free fourth-round pick to retain less than $2 million...
That's actually probably how it went down, is that Toronto and St. Louis sat down and they made calls to just see who wanted a free pick. And, I mean, any team really could have done this. I mean,
yeah.
I guess they were just first on the list to call.
And they got that... well, Minnesota also sent that Pillar dude to Toronto. He's really... the Leafs are just familiar with him because of, like, ECHL and with Fraser Minton. But they threw him in, which I thought was kind of like you're giving up on a prospect. That you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's in the WHL. He has 12 points in 14 games.
Yeah.
He's a 21-year-old.
Yeah. I know, like, whenever people, like, were reacting to the trade, they were, like, going over, like chances are he's probably nothing more than, like, a call-up. But, you know, Kyle Dubas, he loves players that he's familiar with, so that's why they got him. But, yeah, screw the Wild. All right, done talking about the Wild, because that was literally, like, the most least important part. But, like, all right, so, like, who do you think won the trade? I know it's the dumbest question to always ask, but who do you think won?
It's I don't even know if I can really give you an answer right now. I mean, and for the obvious reason, it's like, you know, if the Leafs are if it's a one and done, it's like I'll tell you then.
Yeah.
But that's also cheating this question. I'm gonna say St. Louis, honestly. They got a good return.
Yeah. Okay. I think it was an even trade. I mean, right now, but the only reason, like, you know, getting your draft picks, like, St. Louis has 3 in the first round now for this year's draft, which is like...
No one's talking about that.
That's literally what you want. And, like, if you're bad this year,
if you're bad,
ever since we started the podcast, that's literally the theme for this season. And they're literally doing it, so... And they could get another one maybe, too, with Barbashev.
Yeah, no, that is...
Yeah, so, but, like...
Price.
But what I was getting at, though, is, like, okay, you got your draft picks now, which is cool. But now you actually have to draft a good player with them. You know
I think they will.
I'm not saying that they're not, but like...
I mean, the first this year is going to be a late first, so, I mean, like...
Toronto's first is going to be late.
Yeah, so you take that as...
Rangers is going to be probably under 20, like 20 to 30 range.
The second's next year. That's also Toronto's. It's not like another...
And
pick.
the third is this year's third.
And it's Ottawa's.
It's Ottawa's from the Matt Murray trade.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, because Ottawa paid the Leafs. Yeah, obviously, it was a bad contract. So... If you think that Kyle Dubas is a bad GM, I don't think you should be thinking that.
No,
I seriously think you should reconsider, like, how you view GMs.
Yeah, when I say St. Louis wins this trade, I'm not saying that, like, they made away, like, they robbed them. Really, it's a fair trade. It's a hockey trade. It's what you're supposed to do as the Leafs.
I didn't mean it like that, but, like, because, like, he brought on Matt Murray's contract, which was a risk. You know what I mean? It was definitely a risk. You got a third round. Probably should have got a little more, if I'm being honest. I think you got like a third and a seventh. I think you should have got a little more for taking on Murray's contract, even though they did retain a little bit. I get that. But it was a big risk, obviously, with Samsonov, too, when they brought him in. But Matt Murray's been good, just injured. You knew you were going to get that with him.
Yeah.
But now you found a great... I mean, Matt Murray's been a good goalie for them this season. I can confidently say that.
Yeah.
I've
heard very little complaints.
So you get Matt Murray, you get a good... And you get a third, and you're using that third to get... I mean, obviously, it's a first and a second as well, but it's helping you get another piece. I mean, Cal Dubas, the work he does and how he... On a team like the Leafs, you have to know how to manage the cap. But with him, the way he manages the cap is like of wizards. I told you you still need to watch that documentary because there was this one. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it. The Amazon Prime documentary that came out like last year with the Leafs. There's this one scene where like him and Sheldon Keefe like are in the office and they have like Velcro like name tags like on a wall like with lines, but it's not even like for line. It's like for salary cap like. What can our roster be that's cap compliant right now? You know what I mean? And they're thinking of all these different like plugins and people. So like that's what I mean. Like
that's amazing.
Exactly. Like it's no. I'm being so serious. It's one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen like for like hockey.
This trade. I mean, it sounds so vague and honestly, it might just sound dumb to say. It's just a good trade because both teams did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I don't think the Leafs should have gone after Patty Kane. You don't need him for more offense. That's the last thing you need him with. Timo Meier, dude, imagine a line of like Meier, Matthews, Marner.
That whole team. I don't really care about this.
But he wasn't. What I'm saying is like Meier wasn't.
Yeah.
Which was like, yeah, if you got him, no complaints. But like,
I mean, you still.
But then you're in. But you could also flip him. Oh, Timo Meier's so weird because of his contract and everything, so it's hard.
What's his
qualifying?
Yeah. What is it?
What do you think it is?
It's gotta be. I've heard it like so many.
Yeah,
it's gotta be like 9.
10.
Yeah, that's more.
But obviously, that's not guaranteed because you can, figure out an extension beforehand or trade him. I know I've heard things like that's scaring teams off, but not as much as you would think. I feel like.
Yeah.
But basically, what I mean is like this is the guy that should have went after Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, it was obviously between him and Taze, and before all the Taze stuff came out, which we'll address.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Obviously he's the better player right now.
Yeah, and people forget like they got Noel Acciari too. This guy he could play center wing.
Great depth piece.
Great, he hits. I mean, he had 20 goals 2 seasons ago.
The Panthers.
It's obviously not gonna, but like I'm just saying, he has that. And you know what he is? He's the next Bruin.
They need that. A team like Toronto does need that.
And I saw a stat today saying now after the trade, the Leafs have 5 centers that have over 53% face-off percentage.
That's actually
Acciari, Camp, and then the other 3, O'Reilly, Matthews, and Tavares.
Sometimes I forgot that David Camp.
Dude, he's so good.
But I also forgot he was their third line. Well, you gotta be careful how you say so good.
Well, okay.
Imagine just like a random person that were to
but
watch
like
it.
no, like if you've never, it's like watching David Camp, you're not gonna think he's that good. But like if you hear other Toronto Maple Leafs talk about him, like earlier this season, I think there was a clip from like Marner, and he was saying how like Camp is literally one of the most important players to the Leafs.
I feel like this. Tell me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong if I say this, but David Camp is like their Teddy Bluger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually because Teddy
not saying any. No,
because Teddy Bluger sucks. I was literally gonna say that Teddy Bluger sucks this year. You know what he is?
What?
He's like less offensive Anthony Cirelli.
That's wow.
Which is basically what we.
Yeah, he has 1 goal this year, doesn't he, or 2?
Bluger.
Yeah.
1, and he scored yesterday, but he kicked it in, so no goal. And apparently the last time they won, whatever, he went for an empty net and he hit the crossbar. Bluger. Like he's so snake bitten right now, but it's beside the point. But David Camp, like they signed him last year was his first year. Obviously, he was with the Blackhawks. They didn't qualify him. It's a known thing there.
Yeah.
And he had like 1 goal that season, or like 1 goal in like a lot of like over 82 games. And the Leafs bring him in, sign him like an actual contract, and everyone was like so confused. And by like Game 5 of last year, people like realized like how good he is, like defensively, face-offs, and how he can attribute offense every once in a while too.
Well, yeah. So I mean, now ideally, it's like, again, I never thought he was like. I mean, maybe now it's changed. I never thought David Camp was like. Should be your third line center, but I guess after this year, I guess maybe he is. But now the fact that you have him as your 4th line center, that is so ideal and so perfect. That's the perfect world.
Yeah,
as your 4th line.
You know what's even crazier too, because it's like they have Zach Aston Reese, and obviously, literally, you're gonna get 0 offense from him. You're gonna get the best defense, and what he does, he just keeps the puck to the boards. He just keeps the puck to the outside. Not dissing him, I'm just saying that's what he is. So like, you have like the best defense. Like this team can score goals at will. can defend it well. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to like pressure and goaltending. Because the Leafs are going to play Toronto or Tampa in the first round. I mean,
that's given.
Unless something, I'm not going to say because it's not going to happen. They're playing Toronto or Tampa in the first round. You're going to go up against Andre Vasilevsky. You know the team. That's the same team. You know, then to be honest, I mean, yeah, they didn't have a bad showing last year against the Lightning.
No, they didn't. And I mean, and a lot of people.
Lost.
Yeah, I mean,
you just lost, man.
You're right. It's pressure. It's also, I mean, it's luck as well.
It is.
You gotta be lucky.
Nick
really
Paul took over Game 7. I mean, like
as everyone predicted.
That first goal was like his skates. I don't know. It was a weird.
It was cool. It was.
Yeah.
I watched it live.
And then I think if you remember Game 7, there was like Justin Hall like set a pick on a player, and then Tavares like yeah.
I think it actually was an interference though.
Yeah.
No, it was, but then the issue is like
I haven't seen the clip in forever, so I really
if
can't
you
tell.
have to set a standard with what an interference is in the NHL, like not goal just regular interference, because like now. You know, you look at that, and there's obviously been interference calls this entire season in the regular season for all the teams, and people are going to say, why wasn't that called, or why wasn't
Yeah, you just
called?
can't get that. I'm like, yeah. I'm not saying that plays why they lost. I mean, it could be a reason, but, like, honestly, I can't even tell you why the Leafs lost. I mean, they just lost to a team who wanted it more, I guess. Right? I mean, wait, how did that series go? Didn't the away team win every game, and then the Lightning won the last 2 games in a row?
I thought Toronto won.
Because remember, it alternated. It alternated, right?
I thought because
oh no, the home team won. The home team won the first 5 games of the series, and then the Leafs were up 3-2, and then
that's when
and that's when
went south for them.
Yeah. But either way, so it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna ask the question now because I mean we basically know the rosters. Who are you taking in a best of 7 now after the trade? Do you think the O'Reilly trade impacts the Leafs that much to where they can beat the Lightning?
Yeah, I mean that's a simple answer. I think it's yeah. I just don't know if they will. I mean it's Ryan O'Reilly on your third line. Like that's amazing.
Second line too.
I mean, that's
second
that's
line's worse than the win.
That's a whole coaching thing. That's like up to them. Situational stuff.
Obviously, the Leafs aren't done. I've been seeing. Obviously, there's rumors the Leafs aren't done, but the next move they make will have to be a money in, money out. So if they want Jake McCabe, because there's rumors about that.
Send Justin Hall.
Yeah, that's what would happen. So, but for the most part,
though actually Justin Hall has been like honestly like not bad the second half of the season from what I've heard.
If you listen to Steve Dangle every other game, it's either loves him or hates him. So
yeah,
it's kind of it's like a Doom thing. I guess I'm not going to nitpick it too much. But back to the question, I would have to say yes too that the Leafs beat them. I think. Okay, let me ask you a different question.
Okay, but you could you could also say that last year.
Do you think the Leafs could have beat the Lightning in a 7-game series this season before that trade was made? It's a big question. Obviously, every team's fully healthy, blah blah blah, whatever.
I'd probably say no.
Really?
Yeah.
The way I look at it is too. It's like you got to think. One, obviously it's Vasilevsky.
Right.
That favors it a lot. No matter who
he is an issue, yeah.
So that's Lightning. You obviously get a bump for that, but it's also like I know it doesn't really matter too much, but like the Lightning also don't have McDonough this year. They don't have Palat this year. You know what I mean? They brought in different people for like that depth and that rugged stuff. I think there's rumors they might add Luke Schenn. If they add Luke Schenn,
that's amazing.
That is really good. It's like the 3 teams in on Luke Schenn's Boston, the Leafs, and the Lightning, which is crazy.
That's fun. I don't know who would win this before the trade, after the trade. I don't really know who because it's just
it's 7 games, so that's all I know.
That's how close it is.
But this is what I think too, though. Like I don't hate the Leafs. I'll be honest. I don't really hate them. I do wish for them to lose in the first round because I just think it's funny and I like the memes.
That's everyone.
But if they do win, if they do get out of the first round, I wouldn't really care too much. But it's like I think if they get out of the first round, dude, there's no way like they don't at least go to like the 3rd round or even win the cup. You know what I mean? It's literally just like you need to get out. I think once they get out, they're going.
It's the Capitals thing. It's the Avalanche thing. Whenever they got over their humps, which was the 2nd round, and
for both of those teams, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and then no one can stop them.
But you know what's crazy too? It's like I already know because like, I mean, we talk about them a lot. Obviously, we watch like the Steve Dangle podcast and stuff like that. I already know like if the Leafs don't win the Stanley Cup this year, right? But they make it out of the first round. They're only gonna be like, hey, at least we made it out of the first round though. I guarantee you that's how Leafs fans and like people react. Maybe not right away, but like after like, everything mariners are like, honestly, it's just a step in the right direction. We made it out of the first round.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you see it like that?
I do.
Or do you see it as literally cup or bust?
Wow. Now you say that because you did acquire Ryan O'Reilly.
And like Cal
And you
Dubas,
might
this is
do
Cal Dubas' last year of his contract. Haven't offered him an extension yet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Matthews, you can offer him an extension. Him and Nealer after this season. So does this end of this season matter? Like the impression you're leaving, or is it next season?
I think it's this season.
Cup or bust?
I mean, until you said that, I didn't really think about it because it's like.
Because it's like, what do you think Leafs? What do you think the organization or fans want more? Obviously, everybody wants a cup. I get that, but do you like? Yeah, I want the cup. But like honestly, like kind of just want to get out of the first round.
That's what it's like. It's this. I mean, this is basic knowledge. It's the Leafs version of like what a non-playoff team would be like. If the Red Wings made the playoff, if they were a wild card team and they got swept and scored maybe one goal each game, you're just happy you're there. So that's how I thought of it until you said is a cup or bust. Which I mean, like I don't know why that took me a second to think about. Because you acquired him, you already have the star power you have. Adding O'Reilly just like...
Because you got to think, this offseason, regardless of how it ends, it's already going to be hectic. Because, second free agency starts, like, July 1st. Everyone's going to be like, when's Matthews going to get extended? That's literally going to be the whole talk of the summer. So I mean, I don't know.
I mean, he's going to get more than McKinnon, so...
He definitely should.
Well, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, will they,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, it's really not about when they will extend him, but it's just like, what impression is this team going to leave after this season? You know what I mean? Like, so after this season, what's your mindset going into next season? You know what I mean?
I don't know if this is dramatic and also, like, this is something that's been repeated so much, but, I mean, because Leafs fans say it all the time. This season, to me, as obviously not a Leafs fan, is probably like the biggest season of like probably the last decade for them because there are so many.
Well, just as like a team in general, like they're not
as an organization, as a whole, because no matter what happens, you
have
have
from every position,
from front office down to Austin Matthews.
And honestly, I think it was Chris Johnson that said. I remember him saying it last week. If he didn't say it, it was something along the lines of it's like literally like if you don't make it out of the first round this season, any player on your roster can probably be eligible to trade.
It's nuclear.
Coaching staff is definitely gone. Your general manager's gone. Everyone else is probably gone if you don't make it out of the first round. That's obvious, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, you beat Tampa in the first round and you lose in the second round. How obviously depends how you lose in the second round. I guess. I mean, not even I guess it definitely depends how you lose. But it's like what happens though? Like, is Dubas extended? It's definitely we can't answer it, but you know what I mean. What I'm getting at here.
I think if they do, even if they lose in the second, I think he would probably be extended because, we said this like 3 minutes ago. That just the sole obstacle of getting over the first round is that meaningful to Leafs fans and management. It's like,
they want that more than they want a cup. I feel like.
At this point, yeah. I mean, you have to start there. I mean,
that's what I mean. So that's when people like after this season, like if they get out in the second or the third round, when like experts and fans and players in general would like examine it, they're like, it's literally you're gonna hear it so much of you're just gonna hear at least I got out of the first round. That's literally what you're gonna hear. So I don't know. I think
that sounds so sad to say, but it's the truth.
But when you're in that kind of market and you have these kind of players with making that much money, you kind of have to. But this is where I want to end, the Leafs talk with all this. It's like, Cal Dubas is a good GM, and I'm willing to back that. Definitely top 5.
He's a great GM.
I can make I maybe can make the argument for top 3. Obviously,
he is amazing.
He knows what he's doing. He's young. He has connections with his players. But if you don't get out of the first round, you do have to get rid of him. It just makes sense.
That's a whole different topic.
Who do you replace?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
That's if it does happen, or if there's rumors, then we'll get into that.
Yeah, but you literally just have to though.
Peter Chiarelli.
That's your GM.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, I mean, let's just say Matthews says he doesn't want an extension, like you have to trade him, right? You cannot let him walk.
I mean, do you really think you actually want to?
No, I think no. Short answer, I think he will be extended. But the process and how long it will take, I can't tell you.
Could be another Nylander, situation.
Dude, I'm not gonna. At the same time, though, I'm not gonna be surprised if the first announcement on July 1st of free agency is his extension. Though, I would not be surprised to see that at the same time.
for $15 million, something like that. It's going to be a lot.
Dude, it's gonna be over 13.
I mean, it's deserved. I mean, Connor McDavid's probably making $7 million less than what he should be making.
yeah, you're right. But yeah, other than that, I think it'll be interesting to see because I know yesterday they put O'Reilly at the 2C with Tavares on the wing, which I want people to stop. Obviously, I'm not a Toronto fan, but could you stop with this Tavares on the wing thing? Like, yes, I get it. Like, maybe 2 seasons from now, this guy's he's good. It's John Tavares.
Maybe he's just that much better on the wing. No one ever said he was bad.
True. I don't know. I think I don't know. I think you're wasting John Tavares if you put him on the wing. Like, I get why. I guess
Tavares on the wing is a conversation for any other topic.
I don't think I've ever want to have that conversation, to be honest. But I don't know. I feel like O'Reilly is your 3C. It makes sense at the deadline because you're just bulking up. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I wonder if he's okay with if he's a 3C. But he wanted to go to the Leafs though. He told St. Louis because he didn't have like a no trade clause or anything. He's like, "This is the team I want to go to."
I think he'll manage as a 3C. I don't think there will be any complaints there.
Yeah, I mean he's not getting first power play time though. The Leafs run 5 forwards for the most part on their power plays.
I mean, you never know if something goes south.
Oh, yeah.
Injuries,
Mm-hmm.
anything. So.
Yeah, I think we tackled the bulk of it though.
Mm-hmm. That was a big segment. That was a big piece of news.
Yeah, but as for the Blues though, like if you go on their cap friendly, like look at how depleted, or go on like daily faceoffs and like look at their like projected lineup, at least just for the forwards because the defense is basically the same. If you said last season, Luke and I always said to each other how the Blues, their top 9's insane. Now you lose Perron, you lost Shorts 2 seasons ago. Now you traded,
O'Reilly.
And now you kind of just have like a meh top 6.
I mean,
your first line of Kyrou, Thomas, and Buchnevich is pretty good though.
I mean, you still got Shen.
Sod's hurt, but
Barbashev's gonna go.
Dude, can we talk about how bad that Sod contract is? How he's on IR, I think. How bad that contract is.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Thanks, Colorado, for jacking up his his worth in one season.
He knew what he was doing. He got the money. So.
Oh, the second he found out he got traded to Colorado, he's like, well, I'm going to be rich next year.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. But the Blues, I mean, so what now are the Blues going to do, though? Like, you had a down year, and you traded your things. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you're going to rebuild now, right? Is it a retool?
I don't know. I don't know. Because it's not.
Are they going to try, or are they going to retool next season, or are they going to try and come back next season?
I think this is again another like conversation that's like so much more in depth because it starts from coaching, it starts from like I don't know.
They have some really long. They have that's the Blues' problem. They have a lot of long-term contracts for a lot of money.
Yeah, they have the Sod one.
Sod, Binnington, Falk, Krug, Scandella.
For some reason, I forgot Krug exists.
Nick Leddy.
I don't even know why.
Shen. And obviously, you just extended Kyrou and Thomas, which you're not going to complain about.
Yeah, I know. But
all those other ones, though, that's a lot of bad cap.
That issue's it's a lot to tackle just because it can stem from coaching, messages.
Do you think the Blues are just gonna literally try and lose as many games now as possible?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not is right. I'm gonna try and trade Robert Thomas in fantasy because I see him all the time. Like he's been putting up assists, but there's no need for him to be on my team anymore. And literally no one wants him. So
I did at one point and then I stopped.
Yeah, but I know if I drop him to free agency, someone's claiming him. So
yeah.
But moving on now because we spent a bulk of that on the Leafs in the trade. But had a right to earlier today though. There was another minor trade. Tyler Mott heading back to the Rangers for the second trade deadline in a row. Do you remember what they gave up for him last year?
I think it was just like a 4th.
Yeah, this year was a 7th and Julien Gauthier, which, if I'm being honest, obviously it had to be a salary transaction kind of thing. Like it had to be like money in, money out kind of thing. The 7th round pick is a conditional. It can be a 6th. If like they like make it past like the first round or something.
I'm sure that has has all the meaning.
But I swear, like people value Tyler Mott so much higher. I'm surprised because like in my opinion, I don't see Julien Gauthier as a top 9 everyday NHL player.
I mean, yeah, he's just a depth guy, but I mean, so is Tyler Mott, but he's just better at being a depth guy. So.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised the Rangers didn't re-sign him last year. Because he
I mean,
he was hurt though. I think he was hurt during the majority of the playoffs.
I forgot about that. I actually,
At least with the Penguins, I think he did come back. But yeah, for the Rangers, I mean, they're beefing up now. I think they don't have much cap space left. I don't think to make any more moves. Yeah, they have $900K at the deadline, and there's really no money that they can send out. So for the most, this is really the team. You know what I mean? Because there's no other player that you're going to trade to free up cap. So this is literally your team. It's a good team. I mean, there's really
they can score goals, they can defend, and they have that.
They can't defend, but they have Igor. So
yeah, that helps.
He's actually really. I mean, it's Igor Shesterkin. I get it. You know what I mean? But he's honestly not been like that dominant. He let in a bad goal to Draisaitl the other or 2 nights ago or the other night.
I mean, that's just like.
I mean, he's a 914. That's good, but it's not Igor.
No, I know. It just goes back to. I mean, it's the whole thing that goalie is voodoo. Not saying that he's a bad. He's not bad. It's just like the 935 he put up last year. I mean, he's probably not going to do that. But I mean, don't be. I mean, he's obviously a 920.
He had a 929 in the playoffs too, which is crazy because he was horrible against the Penguins.
Well, I guess
that makes me so mad.
I guess after that he just decided to show up. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I think the I mean, it's a good. I like their defense. Unfortunately, I do. I love the Rangers' defense. Actually,
it is good. It is good.
Their forecourt. It's like as of late, Panarin's been hot. Kreider's been hot. Zibanejad's been popping off. Earlier in the season, or like a couple months ago, like they weren't like their offense and their power play was not what it was last year.
It was. Yeah, it was just
like they were struggling.
Okay. That's literally all it was.
They weren't up to what we expect essentially.
Yeah.
But now they're back. Mm-hmm. I've been seeing them the last couple of games. Panarin had 4 goals last week. He had 2 more goals the next day. Panarin's back. Zibanejad's back. This team's heating up at the right time, unfortunately. And a little bit of my mind was like, there's a chance that we could get the 3 spot in the division.
And then they started doing this.
And then we just started being an embarrassment.
Oh, I mean,
that was awesome.
That's true, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another thing, real quick. It's not scheduled, but while it's on my mind, I was listening to the Chris Johnson show the other day, and guess what he said that I found very surprising.
About who?
The Capitals are going to be sellers at the deadline. They might sell some of their defensemen. Orlov, TVR, and Jensen apparently are some players they're looking at moving.
So are they not trying to?
I don't know. I thought that was because they do have a lot. I mean, their entire defense except for John Carlso is a UFA, or Faravari, but whatever. But apparently the issue with Orlov is term.
Like they can't.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if you trade Orlov, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to get a first-round pick for him.
I don't remember.
If Edmondson and Jake McCabe are going for a first-round pick, Orlov should be going for 2.
I don't even remember seeing that, but I mean, if that's actually.
I don't remember seeing it. I never read it anywhere. That's just what he said on the show.
That's actually if that's the path they take, I'll be really surprised. That's actually
maybe they don't sell. Maybe they just sell one of them.
Yeah,
But let's be honest here. Like, if you're no matter who's in those 2 wild card spots, or I mean, right now it's the Caps and Pens. Whoever it is, you're not winning. You are not getting out of the first round if you're a wild card team.
Yeah, because you got to play one of those.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, unless you're in a division spot,
chances are you're not making it past.
You're not. So, actually, I think it's kind of smart that the Capitals are doing this because they're the last spot and they're probably going to finish it unless the Penguins continue to do they're in the first, I think. Either way, it's Boston or Carolina.
You get something good for Eric Gustafsson, especially like that, couple weeks where he was just like.
I think at the least you can get a 3rd for him.
This is news to me. I didn't even know about that. That's crazy to hear that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that real quick because I just remembered about that. But, we have time to talk about like 1 or 2 more things, but was it today or yesterday about Jonathan Toews?
I think it was today.
Today, yeah. It's unfortunate news that, he's not going to get traded. He's going to, sit out a little longer? He hasn't played since, like, January 26th, I think.
I honestly think he's just going to be done for the season. Because what this is...
I feel bad for him, honestly.
It goes back to COVID. It goes back to whatever... It goes back to COVID, and then whatever it was that, like, had him just out of hockey before he got, like, a bad case of COVID. But I don't see him coming back. I mean, he's definitely going to take the rest of the season, all of summer.
Yeah. I have his quote that he said. So he said, first of all, thank you to all the fans and those who have shown concern about my absence. I'm still dealing with the symptoms of long COVID and chronic immune response syndrome.
That's what it was.
It has been really challenging to play through these symptoms in the last few weeks. It has reached to the point where I had no choice but to step back and concentrate on getting healthy. I'm thankful for all the patience and support of my teammates, coaching staff, and the entire Blackhawk organization. Yeah, I mean, Lover, I mean, I don't think he should be a top 100 player, but that's beside the point. I do feel...
Poor guy sitting out for the season. That's like the first
Yeah,
thing
but I do feel bad for Jonathan Taze because I think he could have been a really good 3C for a lot of teams, whoever traded for him.
Yeah, but I mean, 28 points, 46 games. I mean, I don't know how much better...
75% retained, it has to be.
I don't know how much better he would do on a playoff team, only because of what...
I mean, I feel like he's like an O'Reilly guy that like is really defense and face-offs and the two-way aspect you get from him.
Yeah, but it's like, how good is he going to be if, like, he's clearly not...
That's what he said. He's like, I saw a thing saying he didn't want someone to trade for him because he knew he couldn't give it their all. Couldn't give them their all.
That's really nice of him.
Yeah. But it's even like, it's crazy, I think, like, Chicago-wise, like, so if Taze is going to sit out and Kane might not get traded at all, they're going to be UFAs, but what do you do for Chicago? Like, you expected to get hauls for these players. Are you just going to sign them to both one-year contracts and maybe each at like $6 million or something? Bring their cap down so it's going to be easier to trade them next deadline?
Imagine how nice that would look for Kane if you sign him to like a... God, no,
like 1 year, $5 million?
I don't even know what he would want personally, Kane.
Just say both just fair it out.
I mean,
but both Kane and Taze each re-sign 1 year, $5 million. So you can have this whole situation again next year, but it's easier to have because their cap hits are way less.
And you retain half. And
yeah, it just say obviously it's all hypothetical. Sign them each $5 million, retain half, 2.5, and if a team really does not have that much cap space, do it again, and that's like 1.75 or 1.25. It makes them much more tradable assets.
Especially if Kane, recovers from his like hip thing over the course of the summer. And
I think at this point, just set them both out.
And he still could get moved. Will he? I'm not sure. I mean, the tasting is obviously definitely he's not getting moved. He's done for the season.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Kane will after everything that's come out about his hip, but if he takes the summer off, they do that contract, something along those lines. I mean, and then he won't even if he's not point per game next year, but he's doing better than what he's doing now. I mean, you'll get a way better return.
Did you see the quote that Kane said the other day about Kirby Doc and how like
the development thing?
Mm-hmm.
That was
crazy. It's true though, because I thought when he remember when he hurt his wrist at the World Juniors like the first game or something, and then he came back and like kind of wasn't the same like in the NHL, like came back at the end of the season.
I remember the wrist.
Yeah, but basically like before, because remember. He already played in the NHL before the World Junior Tournament, right?
Yeah.
That was his work. He did good. Like I saw a lot of upside in this player. I mean, obviously he's showing it now in Montreal, but like while he was in Chicago, like it was just bad move after bad move that they had with him. Mm-hmm. But for Chicago, back to like the Kane and Taze stuff, like this kind of like doesn't derail it, but it definitely puts caution on like how you're going about your rebuild now because like Kane and Taze were going to be used for like really big assets to help rebuild with like prospects, players, and picks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But now, if you're not able, like, if they don't want to do like the 1 year re-sign and flip them, and like they just go over, you just lost all these assets for nothing. You already lost Strome and Kubalik for nothing. You know what I mean? So like this basically puts like, I'm just obviously hypothetical, but like this basically
it's all a giant.
This puts like the Blackhawks at probably like the worst team in the league just based on like their assets and what they have to work with.
Oh yeah, like. Again,
the worst. I'm saying 32 when I say that.
It's all a giant what if because we don't know what's going to happen in the off. We can't see the future.
But what we do know is they're not going to get returns what we thought they were going to get at the start of the season.
If that actually does happen and they both test like the open market, they don't get moved or anything, and they don't resign. They don't resign. That actually that does set their rebuild back even more.
Honestly, I mean this really honestly hasn't probably happened that we know, but like. If that happens, that probably sets them back like 2 years, I feel like.
Well, I told you this already when I might have even said it on one of our episodes that Ken Holland, one of his last, I think it was the last year we made the playoffs, and they asked him about a rebuild at the end of the season presser, and he said that rebuilds take like 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I know sure, yeah.
I've said this before, and it's like, I mean, honestly, if you don't get a return, I don't know if it's going to be 10 years, but I mean, you're adding like three years to that for what you could have got for a healthy Patrick Kane. Pull up
I want you to see the Blackhawks cap friendly page. They have for the next 2 drafts, they have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. But if you look at their extra first and second, it's Tampa's.
Right.
So that's obviously gonna be pushed back.
It's late.
So it's like, you really don't have any like high draft picks that you're going to be working with right now. And I don't know, Jake McCabe. They said they want a first for him if they have to retain. If you want this whole contract, it's a second. I mean, you trade McCabe, get something. Johnson maybe a little something, but like, I don't know. Domi.
I mean, these two drafts aren't bad for what they have. I mean, they have 9 picks, and so far they have.
No,
9
they're
picks.
not. But you want at this point when you're like Chicago, you want high draft picks, like the 7th overall, what they got for DeBrincat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wanted that, but I don't know. I'm kind of worried for Chicago because they already have horrible management. And actually, I'm not worried. I don't really care what Chicago does, but
I don't think their management's horrible. I honestly, I feel like they're in better hands now than they were with Bowman. Well,
were they though? Because this who's the GM
Bowman
now?
He didn't build that team. But
But Kyle Davison is also the guy that let Strome and Kubalik walk for nothing.
Those are weird and like.
And he made the Peter Mrazek trade, which is kind of bad because you took.
Or was it smart? Because
Dude, no, it was bad because you took on Mrazek's contract. That's fine. Trading for Mrazek's fine because, dude, I predicted them to do that. Everyone did because they needed a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
But you took on Mrazek's contract, which had 2 more years left at $3.5 million, to only move up 13 spots in the draft.
You don't think that's a lot? Like 13 spots?
For Peter Mrazek's, but like what we're but the value for trading bad contracts, what it's set at now, you know what I mean? Like moving a first and a second to get rid of Peter Mrazek's contract to move down 13 spots.
Yeah,
is not bad at all. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that. Yeah, he made the Mrazek trade, the Doc trade. I think he did good on. You know.
Oh yeah.
The DeBrincat trade.
I mean, Sam Bowman was really in that Ken Holland mind where he didn't want to enter a rebuild. Like he didn't. You traded for and extended Seth Jones. That was you. You did that.
That's so bad.
You clearly weren't accepting the fact that you wanted to rebuild. At least Kyle Davidson. Like the Kubalik, Strome thing, not qualifying those guys. Like was it the smartest? Definitely not. But he's owning up to the fact that like you need to tear this down and you need to you need to restart. You need to rebuild and it needs to.
Oh man, they're in a long rebuild ahead. Real quick, the Kubalik not qualifying him, I can understand maybe there was no market for him because he didn't have that great of a season. Mm-hmm. But the Dylan Strome one really baffles me.
Because second half of the year he lit up, got a hat trick on him.
Yeah, but remember the second half he did. But remember the first half he was a healthy scratch for like the first 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, which it's.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's still a healthy scratch here in Washington. He's been scratched this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Well, they also extended him though.
Well, I don't know if it was a like a performance issue, or maybe there was like an actual like health thing that wasn't an injury, a personal matter or something. But I saw he was scratched.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's going on with Jonathan Toews right now. There's really no update on Kane that is relevant to say. I don't really know. But his price is unknown. His status is unknown, and the percent chance of him actually being traded is also unknown. If I had to put a percent on him being traded, I'll keep it simple and say like 50% chance he gets dealt.
I'll say 50.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously going higher than that's mind-boggling. It probably won't even happen.
Yeah. So the trade deadline for Chicago will be interesting for sure. But yeah, that's just a couple of recent things happening around. Definitely got a lot out of it. I think it was pretty good actually. A lot of good stuff we talked about. Anything else you want to say?
No, we covered a lot. The O'Reilly thing was definitely the highlight of this episode, but I'm happy with today. So.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be back in another couple of days. We're finally going to get on a schedule. I think we're definitely going to record on Mondays and Thursdays. Definitely try to upload by Mondays and Thursdays. We're recording this on Sunday, so we'll definitely be out the next day for Monday for you guys. So if you're seeing this on Monday or on Tuesday, whatever, probably be another one out on Thursday for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you enjoyed. Without that, we'll be seeing you in the next one.
See ya.